Hello, and welcome to Unexplained Reality, the podcast about the strange, unexplained but real. We like to talk about the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot, skinwalkers, UFOs, aliens, paranormal, anything that is atypical and mysterious. We would like to hear from you. Share your encounters and experiences with us at unexplained.reality@yahoo.com. You can also join our Facebook group or hit us up on Twitter or Instagram. Also, check us out on YouTube. Please rate us on iTunes or whatever podcatcher you use.
Good evening and welcome to Unexplained Reality. I'm your host, Brian Quinn, and my sidekick,
Harrison Quinn.
Yeah. What's up, buddy? You sound excited to be doing this.
Oh, absolutely.
I know. It's the highlight of your year, right?
Absolutely.
Perfect. So, what's been happening?
Not much. Just chilling.
Yeah. I hear you. So, it's been a while. Seems like every time we try to get another episode done, we're going to be back on track and we're going to do one next week. And then 2 weeks later, we put out an episode. So, it's just how life goes.
Yeah.
For some reason, this one was really hard for me to get the notes together. Did a lot of research, and for some reason it just was not clicking. It's not going to be that big of an episode, so I don't know. So hopefully it turns out okay. It's an interesting subject, nothing else. So anyways, you know the spiel. If you have an encounter or an experience, please, if you want to talk to us about it, share it. Contact us, unexplained.reality@yahoo.com. We'd love to talk to you or have you on the show. And that can be anything from, alien encounters to, you've seen a ghost, you hear voices, you see something suspicious, something you can't explain, a UFO, I think I already said that, Bigfoot, cryptid, any kind of cryptid, anything unexplained. Just holler, reach out at us. Hit us on unexplained.reality@yahoo.com. You can, hit us on Facebook. We have the Facebook group, Twitter, Instagram, any of that. There's multiple ways to get in touch with us, and we'll respond. And you can do it anonymously. That's fine. Although I know it's hard to do that with Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, but. Maybe there's a way. I don't know. So anyways, and as usual, if you listen to us on a podcatcher, iTunes or Google Play or whatever, if it has the ability to, sorry, one of the dogs just walked in here to check us out. That's why you hear clicking and stuff in the background. Okay. If they have the ability to do reviews or rate us, please do it. It just helps us become more visible. You can also catch our show on YouTube. All the audio, although I hadn't checked in a while, but the audio is supposed to be automatically uploading to YouTube. So you can look for our YouTube channel and subscribe to that and listen. That's about the normal spill there. Do you have any news, buddy?
Nope.
Okay, well, as usual, I have a couple of articles. These are some good ones tonight, and one of them, anyways, let's just go to this one first. This one is from phantomsandmonsters.com. I liked it because it took place on the Blue Ridge Parkway, which is one of my most favorite places in the whole world. And it's from a guy named Bob McDaniel. He did. There's a pictures posted with this article, and he supposedly saw a UFO. I don't know. It almost looks like, he took a picture of the sun way off, but you can tell it's not the sun because it's very small and it's way off in the distance. It's like a fireball. But he says, I was driving along Blue Ridge Parkway in North Carolina with a friend. It was a bright, clear day, and we had just gotten to the Craggy Gardens overlook when we noticed several people looking towards the horizon and pointing. We parked and got out to see what everyone was looking at. Thought it might have been a bear, common enough on the parkway, but just above the horizon there was an incredibly bright object. Even though the day was blue sky and sunny, this object looked as bright as the full moon at night, but at about 3 p.m. in the afternoon. I had my camera and took several photographs as the crowd continued to watch the object. Over the course of about 45 minutes, the object slowly dimmed and then faded from sight, never moving or changing position. I filed a report with MUFON, and after investigation, they said that it was a genuine unknown. They could not find an explanation for the object. While I don't claim that it was aliens, it was a UFO, an unidentified flying object in the purest sense. And like I said, there's a number of pictures of it. And the object's pretty far off. And one of them, they tried to zoom into it, and it's just a bright light. That's what it looks like. But it's pretty interesting. And that's on phantomsandmonsters.com. So, this next story comes from cryptozoologynews.com. And I heard about this on another podcast. I believe it was what's the other one? Expanded Perspectives. I think that's who was talking about this, and it kind of sparked my interest because it's something that I've been thinking about researching, and it is people seeing like cloaked creatures or something, some kind of cloaked humanoid figure. And this article is from cryptozoologynews.com. It was posted on November 5th. And the title is, Has anyone else seen this being? Pennsylvania family claims predator-like humanoid sighting. It says, the following report was originally sent to Cryptozoology News and is being published in its entirety. The eyewitness provided name and contact information. Okay. The article says, Hi, I have finally gained the courage to tell people about an encounter my husband and I had some years ago. We recently bought our home in a new area in western Pennsylvania. Then it's close to where we were raised. I found the home listed for sale on the internet in the fall of 2000. Soon after, we bought the home and became familiar with our surroundings. The next year, before buck season, we were out with our spotlight to go and view the deer in the area. We drove down our long dirt road and turned onto another dirt road. These roads are the kind that only locals would use because they are so bumpy and treacherous and didn't really take you anywhere but to farms. There's no winter maintenance for snow removal either. Just as we turned off of our road and onto the next, my husband was shining the spotlight on the left side of the road from the driver's seat of our car. He continued to drive slowly, flashing the light around when he shone the light in what looked like a driveway. It was actually one of a series of roads meant for gas trucks to tap from various gas wells in the area. They are quite common and abundant. As he shined the light in this small dirt road that resembled a driveway, he kept his light fixed. At first, I had deer ingrained in my mind and was expecting to see the shape of a deer. As I stared at this shape, I realized that I did not know what I was looking at. I knew it wasn't a deer. It wasn't any animal at all. As my brain tried to comprehend what I was looking at, it became more clear the longer I stared. What I saw had the shape of a man, but it was not a man. It was not see-through as a ghost. The only way I can describe it was that it was like standing water. but it didn't cast a shadow. It didn't have any glare to it as the light was on it. It did not reflect the light. It was not gas, as gas does not have a significant shape. Gas will ebb and flow with the breeze, or at least have an inconsistent shape. Rather, what I saw had a defined shape. That was the only way I can see it, because it had the shape of a human, and I could make that out because of the defined edges and curves. Only because of its outline was I able to make out what I was looking at. When I realized that I was looking at a human shape, I noticed the posture was similar to a person skulking or sneaking. It was hunched over a little, and one of its arms were frozen in place in front of it, as though it knew we saw it, and it froze its position to try to be undetectable. A few seconds had passed as it stood there like a mannequin in mid-step, frozen in space. In front of it, I could see a small knot about a foot and a half tall that had a small graded slope to it. After what seemed a long time, but only moments, I remember feeling very afraid. What I was looking at knew that I was looking at it. It could easily pounce at us. It was only maybe 10 feet in front of us on the driver's side of the road. It was standing in some low grass beside the driveway gas well road. It was close enough to hurt us. I didn't know what this thing was, and I didn't want to find out what it was capable of doing. Our sons were at home right down the road from where we were, but nobody really knew where we were. If we needed help, there was no one around us for a couple miles. There was no cell service on our road either. We were out there alone with that thing. After we stared at this thing for maybe 10 seconds, it then began to slowly crouch into a seated-like position, but having its feet underneath, like it was ready to lunge at us. Again, I could not see its body parts, only the outside shape of it. After it remained in the squatted position for a few more seconds, it then appeared to slowly lay down onto the little knoll, and then it disappeared. I could no longer see it. It had just seemingly vanished. I could not believe what I just saw. I was stunned to the core. I then began to doubt what I saw, and said to myself that I must be seeing things. This is crazy. I resolved to not even say a word to my husband. I thought he would poke fun at me and not even believe me anyway. Then my husband looked at me and asked, Did you just see that too? After hearing him admit that he too had saw exactly what I saw, I turned to him with my mouth still hung open and told him, yes, I saw that too. Then I immediately told him to drive and get me the hell out of there. And what's so strange is that my husband thought the exact same thing that I thought, that he was seeing things too. Like me, he was not even going to say anything to me. He thought he was seeing things too, but as he turned towards me once he began to drive away, and he saw my mouth just hanging open, he knew that I had seen it too. We both saw the exact same thing. He saw that it was the shape of a man. He saw that it was hunched over as if caught red-handed. He saw that it had cloaked like the predator, but it didn't have a jagged camouflage look. The thing we saw had a smooth look. It was like standing water without the reflective aspect, and its outside shape was smooth and definitive. I do not know what we saw, but I do know it was real. I have been really guarded about this experience, and I've only told a few people, because I know how skeptics are. I am one of them. Yet I cannot refute what we saw. It was real. Nevertheless, whatever it was or is, we saw it. There's no doubt in my mind or in my husband's. Another reason why I'm finally sharing this is because lately I have been watching various TV shows about cryptic phenomena like Bigfoot and whatnot. It's October and creepy shows are airing this time of year. Watching these shows reminded me of our experience all those years ago. And then after all these years, I've never done any research to see if anyone else has had a similar encounter. For a long time, I just as soon wanted to forget all about that night. But now I thought I'd searched Google for the words predator-like sightings and was astonished to see a couple of people seeing what we saw. I then came upon this website and decided to tell our story. I do not expect a lot of people to believe me. I don't really care what people say in that regard. I get it. Unless you have your own experience, most won't get it. What I would like is to know if there are more sightings of this thing and what people think it might be. I assure all of you that we both saw the exact same thing. Yes, it was dark. The spotlight was exceptional with its quality, and there was no mistaking what we saw, being confused with any shadows, strange light reflections, optical illusions, gas leaks, ghosts, or any other possible phenomena. The cloaking capabilities were of absolute exceptional clarity. It bent the light in such a way that it looked like the surrounding environment without any flaws, save for the outline of the man-humanoid being. Aside from the distinctive outline, we would not have been able to detect that anything was there at all. Now, if light affects the cloak in the daylight, then more people will have more sightings. However, I have a sneaking suspicion that our spotlight deflected the cloaking mechanism in such a way that we were able to detect an outline because of it. Just a noted theory. I don't even know where to. I don't even know where to begin on that. I mean, could it be? I don't know. Some kind of unknown creature? Could Bigfoot be able to do something like this? Or, is it a military test? But why would they be, tromping around in the woods in some remote destination, in western Pennsylvania? What do you think, buddy?
I don't know. It could be like an animal or something, but I'm thinking more like alien-like.
Yeah.
Hello?
I don't even know.
Oh, sorry.
That's so crazy. I mean, what would you think if you saw something like that? I would think I was nuts or something.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's strange.
On this article, there is, and I've seen this footage before. There's a footage taken from Mount Rainier, Washington. It was taken in the fall of 2014, and these people are out. I didn't listen to the audio; I just watched the video. But I'm thinking from what I saw before, I think there may be a Bigfoot group, and they're out doing some research, and they video this section of woods. And there's a lot of video. I mean, the video goes on for like 10 minutes or so. And they're videoing this one section of woods, and you can see like an anomaly there. And I've seen a number of other videos like that, and there's a number of people in the Bigfoot community that believe that Bigfoot cloaks, has some kind of cloaking mechanism. I don't even know how they would do that, but I mean, I have to look at what octopuses can do. They can cloak themselves amazingly, I don't, who am I to say? I mean, we don't even know that Bigfoot exists for real. I believe they do, but I've always looked at them as being, a skin and bones creature,
just a standard ape.
But, if an octopus can make themselves look like a rock, and blend in amazingly well, who's to say there's not some other creature that we don't even, don't know that it exists, that is able to somehow transform itself? It doesn't make much sense, but not this kind of cloaking. But I don't know. I mean, you would think that something with hair, if it's a primate type creature with hair, that wouldn't be able to do that. But I don't know, that's very strange. But
I don't know.
Let's get to the other one. The other one is apparently came in after that one. This is from cryptozoologynews.com also, and the title of it is Washington Man, I have also seen the predator-like humanoids, and this is from Tulalip, Washington. A man replying to last week's report says that predator-like creatures are also showing up in a small Washington town. 47-year-old John Fair says he first saw the invisible beings back in September. They are my backyard sometimes, the Tulalip resident told Cryptozoology News. I watch them for hours. I think they know I'm watching them and they mess with me later at night. The commercial fisherman adds that the most remarkable sighting occurred one day while his girlfriend was taking a shower inside. I went to the backyard to pee. Okay. My girlfriend was showering and I caught one of them looking towards her. I spotlighted him in the face. He says he called the police, but that by the time they arrived, the unidentified creatures were gone. I almost wound up in mental hospital. They made me question my sanity. Nobody believed me. Fair claims that the trail cameras around his property are unable to capture the entities. They just disappear before I can get one. They have a human shape. At first, I thought they were people in camouflage. It is really predator-looking military style, he said about the humanoids. The Washingtonian, that's hard to say, Washingtonian, also says that these beings are now building fortresses in the trees. It's been 3 months now. One day I counted over 30 of them, he said. Tulalip, a former census-designated space or place in Snohomish County, is the largest community of the Tulalip tribes of Washington and has a population of 2,000. I don't know, man. That's some strange stuff.
Yeah.
I would not want to encounter something like that. That would, I believe that would creep me out pretty good. That's amazing. Whew. So, anyways, we'll keep an eye out for that because you got all this crazy stuff happening in Chicago. Maybe this is the new Chicago here, happening in the Northwest. Predator-like humanoids. Awesome. So, well, not really, not if you're a person seeing that, but
Yeah.
anyways, so you got anything to add before we kick it off?
Nope.
All right, tonight's episode we're going to talk about vortexes, or vortices, I guess is the correct plural pronunciation. So, you know, vortexes, there's all kinds of different vortexes. There's meteorological, which are physical, you know, can be seen, experienced, and a lot of times, you know, they bring devastation to whatever areas are hit by them. Those would be like, you know, tornadoes, hurricanes, water spouts. And then you have the energy type, which are, you know, typically unseen, but a lot of times they can be felt or experienced, and that's what we're going to be talking about. And with the energy vortexes, you know, you had different types of those also. The ones heard about most often are called the vile vortices or vortexes. These vortices are usually come with catastrophic or disastrous scenarios. On many occasions, they are blamed for disappearances of planes, ships, or other such, you know, vehicles. And the term vile vortices or vortexes was given by Ivan T. Sanderson in 1972, and his name is synonymous with cryptozoology and, you know, paranormal stuff. And if you're a person who has an interest in cryptozoology or paranormal, his name, you know, will be familiar. You recognize it right away. But Ivan T. Sanderson was a biologist and a writer. He was born in Scotland and was naturalized U.S. citizen. He was known professionally for his nature writing and his interest in the subjects of cryptozoology and paranormal. One of his best known endeavors was his involvement in the Minnesota Iceman story, which is where I knew him from. He came up, you know, he's the one that came up with the vile vortices, and he founded he founded the Society for the Investigation of the Unexplained in Columbia, New Jersey. He also wrote an article called "The 12 Devil's Graveyards Around the World" for Saga Magazine in 1972. And from that, this is excerpt of what he wrote about. He said, with several associates, he set out to pattern the mysteries by taking full advantage of modern communication technology and statistical data analysis. His success was startling. The 12 Devil's Graveyards Around the World plotted ship and plane disappearances worldwide, focusing attention on 12 areas, equally spaced over the globe, in which magnetic anomalies and other energy aberrations were linked to a full spectrum of strange physical phenomena. Highest on Sanderson's statistical priority list was a lozenge-shaped area east of Miami in the Bahamas, on the western tip of the infamous Bermuda Triangle. This area's high profile of strange events, Sanderson concluded, was mostly due to the enormous flow of air-sea traffic in the area. Other zones of anomaly, though less familiar, were equally rich in disappearances and space-time shift occurrences. Another area of continuing disappearances and mysterious time warps is the Devil's Sea, located east of Japan between Iwo Jima and Marcus Island. Here, events have become so sinister that the Japanese government has officially designated the area a danger zone. Sanderson theorized that the tremendous hot and cold currents crossing his most active zones might create the electromagnetic gymnastics affecting instruments and vehicles. His theory is now being balanced against several. So he came up with this term, vorteces, in 1972. And, he believed that it consisted of these 12 locations across the globe where these strange energy fields existed. The vortices, with the exception of 2, reside in oceans, and 3 are located in the Tropic of Cancer. These 3 are known best. The locations are equidistant from each other in these vortexes. The best known would be the Bermuda Triangle, was stated in that article, and it's the location of a great many disappearances of both ships and planes. The history of disappearances and strange happenings have been documented for hundreds of years, and probably of those, the most publicized one is the disappearance of Flight 19. And Flight 19 was a squadron of 5 planes that disappeared in 1945. The planes left out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida for a training mission, and there was nothing special, just a normal exercise. They radioed that they were having navigational issues and were unable to distinguish between the sky and the ocean. And to make things worse, their electronic equipment was malfunctioning. They disappeared and were never found. And if you haven't read that story or looked into it, there's many shows about just Flight 19 and what all happened, and it's pretty incredible because basically these guys flew all over the place. They were in the air for a long time, and they flew all around desperately trying to get their way. And, ultimately they just disappeared and they've never been found. I think a couple of years ago somebody had claimed that they thought they had located the planes, but I don't know if, I can't recall if that actually panned out or not. But it's a really interesting story. If you haven't, researched that or looked into it, you should definitely do that if you're interested in this kind of stuff. But another vortex is located in Japan. It was also, I believe I just said Japan, with a D, in Japan, and it was the other one that was the Devil's Sea, which was taught, I read in the article from Saga Magazine here. It is also suspected in the disappearance of countless ships and planes, and like he said in the article, the government of Japan basically put it like a danger zone, stay away from it, it's off limits. And the vortex is called the Devil's Sea, or some call it the Dragon's Triangle. The best known incident, that of the Keiomaru number 5. It was a Japanese research vehicle that had a crew of 31 on board. It was investigating some underwater volcano activity when it got caught up in an eruption and was destroyed on September 24th, 1952. This one I found interesting, is listed as a vortex, and it's the Hawaiian volcanoes. And believe it or not, they're also part of a vortex triangle that have been blamed for the disappearance of planes and ships. The main culprit for this vortex is Hamakulia, which is close to the Hawaiian island chain and has been fingered for its supposed disruptive energy. I didn't have any idea they had something, that they had their own kind of Bermuda Triangle that included part of the Hawaiian chain. But in another one in Sindh, Pakistan, which is called the Mohenjo Daro, which in Sindhi means mound of the dead men. Like I said, it's located in Sindh, Pakistan, and it is an archaeological site that was built around 2500 BCE. It was one of the earliest major cities of the world and was associated with ancient Egypt, Norte Chico, Mesopotamia, and Minoan Crete. The settlement was abandoned in the 19th century, I think BCE, as the Indus Valley civilization declined. In its heyday, it was one of the largest settlements in the Indus Valley. It was eventually rediscovered in the 1920s and has since been excavated substantially. This location is interesting because it is a site where the civilization just disappeared mysteriously. From what archaeologists have learned from the surrounding area, they believe there were a multitude of large cities in the area and that the Indus Valley civilization was a very advanced civilization with possible trade routes to Central Asia. But here again, as there's been a number of civilizations throughout the world where they can't figure out what happened to them, and this is one of them. There's a lot of speculation about this because it is a vile vortex location. So, Algerian megaliths. These structures are located just south of Timbuktu. The site is believed to be a vile vortex. The site contains Neolithic rock etchings and many megalithic ruins. And then, of course, you have the North Pole and the South Pole, which are considered vile vortexes. Zimbabwe has a series of megaliths that are also on the list that Ivan T. Sanderson came up with as being vile vortexes. Easter Island. Of course, everybody knows what Easter Island is. It's a Pacific island. It's best known for the moai that were carved by the Rapa Nui people. Those are the big heads, big carved heads, which are huge. They're carved stone and are between 1100 and 1500 CE is when they supposedly were carved. And it's yet another megalithic structure where the culture that used to call this island home is believed overexploited the resources and eventually cost them their lives. South Atlantic anomaly is an area where the Earth's inner Van Allen radiation belt comes closest to the Earth's surface, and it's also a vile vortex site. The New Hebrides Trench is a submarine trench in the southwestern Pacific Ocean at the edge of the Coral Sea. It is located between Vanuatu and New Caledonia, and at its deepest it's 25,000 feet and about 750 miles long, 45 miles wide. You guessed it's a vile vortex. And then you have the Wharton Basin, which is the marine area of the northeastern quarter of the Indian Ocean. It is located, it was named after William Wharton, who was a hydrographer in the Navy. Alternative names for it are the Cocos Basin, which is after the Cocos Islands, and the West Australia Basin. It lies east of. This is interesting. Is of interest in relation to the Indian Ocean floor movement and adjacent fracture zones and the relationship between the Indian and Australian plates. And it is one of the number of features of the Indian Ocean that has been studied extensively. So, and that's another vortices or vortex. And there are other. Those are the vortexes that were identified by Ivan T. Anderson, and they were negative, basically, like, I guess considered negative energy, because there's a lot of disappearances. There's disappearances of people, there's disappearances of ships, planes that correlate to those locations. But other vortex areas are the Great Pyramids of Giza, which are known for their energy and spiritual powers. These structures were built using mathematical constant of pi. The reason for these structures is not completely understood. Some believe the pyramid shape aids in healing, so that could explain a reason behind building them. Another one is the Himalaya range, which is the tallest mountain range in the world, and is home to the mighty Mount Everest. That mountain range stretches across India, China's Tibetan Plateau, Bhutan, Nepal, and Pakistan. And the Hindus and Buddhists, they believe those mountains are sacred, and it's not unusual for them to go on sabbatical to those mountains for periods of time, because they do believe they're sacred, and they believe they have spiritual powers, which a lot of times with these energy vortexes, that's why people go to them, because they believe that enhances their spirituality. And it's believed that this energy coming out of these vortex sites across the earth are spiral energy. So it is believed that they're either positive or negative, and some of these energies are released vertically and some radiate horizontally. And the vile vortices were, like I said, they were I guess coined that term by Ivan T. Anderson, but that is not all the vortex sites. That's just the 12 he named. Like I said, the Great Pyramids, Himalayan range, there's tons of other ones. But it's interesting, if you look at a map, of vortex sites on the earth, you can find them different sites, and it's amazing how equidistant they are to each other. You couldn't have mapped it out any better. If you planned it, and it's just amazing. But anyways, so most paranormal activity that is witnessed at the sites where these vortex or suspected vortex sites are where negative energy is released. This malevolent energy is referred to as black spiral or black vortex. And as you expect, the locations of positive energy are referred to as white spirals or white vortexes. It's also very interesting that these vortex sites are located equidistant, like I said, from each other, and many of them are locations of ancient sites. So it's interesting to think how these ancient peoples were able to construct these sites where they were constructed. I mean, how were they able to locate these energy release sites? Some believe they would have used divination techniques, where they would take objects and throw them on the ground and read, quote unquote, read the patterns they created. You see that kind of stuff done with, even now you have people that are spiritual readers or spiritual people that are going to foretell the future, that will do stuff like that, where usually it's with some kind of bones. They pick them, they throw them out or something like that. Well, that's the same thing with this. They would take these, some kind of, small rocks or some kind of objects, and they would toss them on the ground, and then they would read what it was, the pattern it would leave, and they believe that's how they figured out where these energy sites were. And this could have been some type of form of divination. It is still used today, for finding water underground. They're called dowsing rods, and they're usually used for, like I said, to find water for digging wells. A lot of times you'll see that. If you have to have a well, if you live out in the country, you're familiar with having wells put in. Some of these guys still do dowsing techniques or divination techniques to find the water before they dig. So what they'll do is they'll come out with, usually, I've seen it done with sticks. I haven't seen it done with sticks, I'm sorry. I know people say you can do it with sticks. I've seen it done with metal rods. I've seen it done with old metal coat hangers that were just bent to, just like rods. But they sell divination or dowsing rods that you can buy. But they are just small, thin metal rods, and they've got like a 90-degree bend on them that you hold it like a handle. Hold one in each hand, you keep them parallel, you walk across the ground, the property, and when you hit a water source that's under the ground, the rods will cross. They'll no longer become parallel, but they'll intersect. And wherever they cross at is, under there is where you're supposed to dig to get water. I've seen it done before. There's something to it because, you hold the rods loosely and it just does it on its own. So there's some kind of energy source there that's causing these rods or sticks. Some people say you can just use sticks to do it, to crisscross each other. How could this be how ancient peoples located these energy vortex sites? I don't know. It could be the case, I guess. If we know how to do it, who knows when we knew how to do it? So anything's possible. But another possibility people say is astronomy, and it's no secret that astronomy has played a major role in most civilizations or ancient civilizations. That was the old school GPS. I mean, back in the day, that's how Columbus and those guys, the old navigators, that's how they navigated the globe, is by the stars and astronomy. And many believe the spiral energy gives them incredible spiritual and healing or physical benefits. That spiral energy comes out of these vortexes, and the composition of the earth, at these vortex locations is also believed to enhance the energy being released. Many of these sites are rich in mineral deposits, and some of these minerals just enhance the energy that is being released. And like quartz is a huge energy conduit, and those areas where the large quartz deposits are conduits of psychic and spiritual energy, or that's what's believed. So that is pretty much what I've got for vortex sites. Like I said, you could go very deep into individual sites. There's tons of vortex sites across the globe. Sedona, Arizona, I didn't even touch on that one. That was a huge one in the U.S. I believe Washington, D.C. is a vortex site, I want to say. So it's really an interesting subject, and if you're somebody that's in the spiritual healing or capturing earth energy, that is it's something you would definitely know about, and it's a very, very interesting subject, and it's one of those that you could talk about for hours on end. But that's what I got. What you think, buddy?
I definitely think there could be some relevance. I mean, I don't think it's all just, everybody's been thinking this big conspiracy and everybody's thinking it all at the same time. I think there's definitely a connection. if it's not 100% set, energy coming out of a vortex, it could be, something else. Who's to say that it's not some naturally occurring thing, if not a naturally occurring vortex?
Well, I think a lot of people believe that the energy coming out of the Earth at those sites is due to underwater streams or rivers that are creating that energy. Maybe it's radiating up through these mineral deposits, and it's just being amplified.
Maybe.
So, I mean, if you look at amplifiers and you look at anything about broadcasting a signal, usually, back in the old days at least, that was all done through crystals. I remember one of my brothers was in military police, and he had an old military radio when he came home, and it was, back then they were big old huge boxes, with big old rubber antennas, and the thing was like a huge brick, and if you wanted a different frequency, you had to go to Radio Shack and get a different crystal to put in it to be able to do that frequency, and that's what it used. And some people believe that, these vortexes just prove that the Earth is nothing but a huge crystal that's broadcasting on a certain frequency. I don't know. I mean, I took electronics, and, that's what I went to school for, but, yeah, I mean, there's all kinds of energy waves, all around us all the time nowadays, and I'm sure that at some point somebody has gone and done readings at this site, so obviously there's something to it, and how it's coming out of the Earth, I don't know. Maybe it is something as simple as just water under the surface, or maybe it's some more to it, I don't know. But obviously there's something coming out at those sites, is radiating out, and people are either witnessing it, feeling it, channeling it. Yeah, there's something to it for sure. I think it's interesting too, and we'll probably do it in a future episode. There's a lot of correlation between these sites and where they're located. Like I said, they're equidistant, but there's sites in the U.S. that, exist on the same parallel and the same coordinate plane there, and a lot of those are known as vortex sites. So it's something we're going to probably dig into more on future episodes, because like I said, there's a lot to it, and there's a lot we can talk about with it from different points of view. But
yeah,
for some reason, maybe all this quartz rock we have in this dirt was causing me problems, and I was unable to channel that energy into writing more about it. I don't know, because there's a lot to it, and I only wrote, for some reason I've been working on this for over a week and just had a hard time getting it together. So it was a struggle. The struggle was real this time.
Oh Lord.
But anyways, you got anything else you want to talk about? Anything?
Not really, no.
All right.
I think you got it all.
All right. Well, I guess we'll wrap this guy up. Like we said at the beginning of the show, and we say every show, if you have an encounter, you have an experience, you have anything, cryptid, UFO, alien, ghost, whatever you want to talk, hit us up, unexplained.reality@yahoo.com. You can get us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and come friend us on Facebook. Well, I think you can't friend the page. You can come request access to the page, or the group. We have a closed group, and that's the thing. I've had a lot of people come and like the Unexplained Reality page, and it's still up. That's fine, but also come find the group. Unexplained Reality group and join that. Just click the button to join, request permission, and I'll get paged on my device here or on my laptop. I'll get a notification and I'll come accept you. And that's a place where you can share articles, and I probably don't interact enough with that page, but maybe will as we get more people in that group. And you can also contact us there after you get into the group. You can, send us a message and let us know if there's something you want to talk about. We can go offline with it. If it's a story you want to share and you don't want nobody to know who you are, that's fine. We can handle it that way. If you just want to share something with us but don't want us to share it, that's fine too. If you just need somebody to talk to about something that happened to you don't understand or whatever, just hit us up, unexplained.reality@yahoo.com. Come like us on Twitter and Instagram, follow us, and check out our YouTube channel, which is just audio from the show. Well, you come subscribe to that. Maybe one day we'll have time to elaborate on that and maybe actually do some footage. Would like to get out in the field and check out some weird occurrences close to our house here, and but we haven't done that yet, so hopefully that'll be in the future too. Also, if you can like us, review us, that would be much appreciated. iTunes, if you do review there, or click the stars or whatever, it just helps us to show up for more users, more people that are interested in this kind of subject. So maybe it'll increase our listenership, and it'll just make things better for the show. Ricky Young Music, rickyyoung.com. He allows us to use his music for the show. So some of the tunes you hear on here are his. And I guess our fellow podcasters out there, we'd always like to thank them because they're really the inspiration for us getting into this. Sasquatch Chronicles, Into the Fray Radio, Saswhat, OK Talk, Mysterious Universe, Cryptic Factor, Monsters Among Us, Saswhat. Sorry, I said Saswhat. Monsters Among Us. What am I missing, buddy? The Confessionals.
Somewhere in the Skies.
Somewhere in the Skies. Secret Trance Podcast.
I think you got it.
I think that's about it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Graylian Report. Forgot that one. The Graylian Report. Micah Hanks. Yep. I think that's it. Unless you got anything else, buddy. If you don't, we'll wrap it.
All right.
You good?
Yep.
All right. I hope everybody has a good week, and hopefully we'll be back next week, but we're not going to make any guarantees because our track record really stinks right now. So
Sure does.
hopefully you'll see us next week. If you don't, maybe the week after that, or the week after that, or the week after that, or the week after that. All right. See you. Later.
Prepare to confiscate the human's possessions. Possessions secured. Prepare the probe.
Whoa, whoa, whoa! Wait a hot second. No need for a probe, man. Why are you doing this anyway?
To learn from your kind. And to obtain your container of treasures.
Container of treasures? Oh, you mean my cryptid crate?
Yes, the cryptid crate you possess. We desire it. We have discovered it to be populated with many objects we find most incredible. Correct. The objects in this container cannot be produced on our home planet.
Well, you don't have to abduct people to get your own cryptid crate.
Elaborate.
Just go to cryptidcrate.com and sign up. On the first of each month, a new box filled with amazing cryptozoology-themed items will come to your mailbox, or spaceship.
Allow us to show appreciation to you, human, for this invaluable information.
Yeah, sure thing. Does this mean you're going to take me back to Earth?
Not exactly.
paragraph on a piece of paper, held by a magnet on the refrigerator, said it all. You can't change the mind of an 18-year-old. Cloud of dust coming from a Gran Torino, taking off. Population, one less restless soul, runaway to below. Gone, make yourself a memory. It's pulling like gravity underneath your skin. You can't turn around and go back again. Free, rolling like the river winds. What's ahead of what you leave behind? Just make it up as you go. Run away to below. Highway 61 underneath your wheels. Summer sun burning up the cotton fields in the Bible Belt. A sharecropper shack from another time. Old rusted out Coca-Cola sign on the sad motel. The ghost of a Robert Johnson says hello. Run away to below. Gone, make yourself a memory. It's pulling like gravity underneath your skin. You can't turn around and go back again. Free, rolling like the river winds. What's ahead of what you leave behind? Just make it up as you go. Run away to below. Nobody's gonna care if it don't matter where. Any road can take you there. Gone, make yourself a memory. It's pulling like gravity underneath your skin. You can't turn around and go back again. Free, rolling like the river winds. What's ahead of what you leave behind?